All right, the hot topic, and it is hot out here today on a December day, pre-Christmas, is in a couple of weeks. But I gotta tell you what, it's still hot. Are rental properties still hot or are they not? Right now, we're in Oakview and we're checking out a 3-unit property, this beautiful little town of Oakview right off Casitas Pass. And what I call, and if you've seen in the other videos, but what you want to know is the West Side Vine. We're talking about Ventura and Ojai communities. They're connected by the west end, where the 33 and Ventura Avenue go up to Casitas Pass, Oakview to Miners Oaks. That's where all the affordable housing is. That's where the good flip deals are. That's where the good buy and hold deals are. That's where 3 property deals like this are a potential opportunity. Today, we're talking about that 1.3 number and how we're going to see the property on Harrison that we currently have in escrow was listed at 1.3, bringing in about 8,500. This property here listed at 1.1, and they were going to maybe list a little higher, but their income is just over 7, maybe 7,500. And then the other property with Charmy in our office that was listed at 1.3, 1.314 range, and that's a lot closer to downtown Ojai, right down the street from the Deer Lodge, about 1 block. So you can see this is just beautiful SoCal weather. We are only a 7 to 8 minute drive down from the beach. Lots of surfers live here, lots of nature lovers live here. What's really splendid about this place is you're right between Ojai and Ventura. You got the best of both worlds. And it actually stays a little bit cooler here, actually a lot cooler than it does in the downtown Ojai area. So, or even the East Ojai area. So let's get into it a little bit and let's talk about the differences between these properties and if it's even worth owning a rental property. We've got, tenants' rights issues. We've got rent control. We've got insurance going up. I'm talking about, it's hot out here. We've got, potential fire hazards, potential hill or mudslides, mega rains. So when it comes to insurances and all this risk, is it even worth it for that reward? Is it even worth it to get a little bit of that profit or have a little bit of that property working for you? Well, that's what we're going to talk about right now. So taking risk into consideration is the biggest thing. If you are potentially going to have a fire hazard or have flood on top of the regular wear and tear that you have with these properties, where you're fixing roofs, you're fixing maybe sewer laterals, plumbing, electrical, heat sources, making sure you don't have any water leaks. All of these things are so important because you have to provide safe sanitary housing. Did you know that if you have mold in a rental property and you have someone who they've discovered mold in their tenant there, you've got to put them up. They're paying you for housing and you're obligated to provide them housing. That's kind of a double whammy because you've got to put them up now and you've got to get it fixed. And insurance can take forever. Being on the tail end of these insurance claims of fires and floods, you're at the end of the line, not a priority. So you've got to be fit for this. You've got to have reserves in place so that you're able to literally and financially weather the storm. So while this one might be the lowest price with the highest income, you've got to check out things like, permits. Are they all legal dwellings? If someone decides to turn you into the city or the county and say, hey, they had an illegal dwelling, well, all of a sudden they can yellow tag it or they can get a quit to rent, quit use of occupancy until you're rectified. But that brings up a really good point. What we found out recently when we were investigating for one of our clients who thought they might get forced into a sale, what did we find out? We found out that there's an amnesty program going on right now. So this amnesty program is going to allow for garage conversions or housing issues to be rectified. Yeah, so when it comes to owning one of these, you got to be aware of all the rules that it comes to taking care of tenants. It's great to get those checks and it's great to have someone contributing their work and toil towards what would be your wealth. What I tell people all the time is you have to let the investment feed itself. So a better part of that profit is going back into maintenance, saving for the rainy day. And you know, really being financially fit for any troubles that might arise. And then over the long term, that's when you really bring the wealth. So if you're interested in investing, we're looking at 9 to 950 is bringing in 4,500 to 5 grand. We're seeing that kind of across the board. And then up to 1.3, we're seeing for nicer single family homes getting the 7,000 or 8,000 in rental income if it's a single family home. And then we're seeing these 2 or 3 units, these triplexes or fourplexes getting 7,500 to 8,500. So those are pretty good numbers. You've got 25% down, you're in cash flow. It's really hard to do in California, but you can do it right here in Ventura. And one of the other big things to take into consideration is the environment. We are in a steep valley. That means that the water is going to come down these mountains and percolate. There's a river right through here. And when we actually drove through to get to this property, you'll see the properties here on this side of the road back up to that river. You'll see river rock in the backyard during the summertime when it's bone dry. But then all of a sudden when that river's full, it gets squeezed and elevated and could very much compromise. So the fact that the home we were looking at was on this side is better, but you still have access issues. And to go around the other side of the mountain is even much more treacherous. So that's something else to consider if you're doing an investment. Beautiful area, beautiful scenery, but in those high times of weather, be it fire or storms, fire, flood, or storm, it could have some added costs. So let's take a look at the one that's in Ojai right by the Deer Lodge right now.
So the downstairs area is the main house. It is 1,200 square feet. It is 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It brings in $6,000 a month in rental income. The ADU upstairs is about 500 square feet, and it brings in $2,600 in rental income. We have a single family home with an attached ADU. The ADU was just finished and permitted earlier this year.
These 2 or 3 units, these triplexes or fourplexes getting 7,500 to 8,500. So those are pretty good numbers. You've got 25% down, you're in cash flow. It's really hard to do in California, but you can do it right here in Ventura.